Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is going to be part 2 of the remote tuning process with Thomas in Norway. If you haven't seen part 1, go check it out up here somewhere. Now, in this episode, we're going to be discussing the final results of the tune. Basically, how does it drive? What do we have to do to correct the feeling? I'm going to talk about the charts and show the difference in the feeling before versus after. And then we'll see what his impression of the car is, as well as discuss his thoughts on how the tuning process went, as well as his thoughts on other people who want to do remote tuning. So for those of you who don't know what remote tuning is, essentially myself or AC Dodd can connect to you via video chat, and we can talk to you through how to get your car running properly. And remote tuning can happen over a period of days or weeks, depending on the state of condition of your car. We can talk for an hour and then run into a problem and then come back another day when you've got the time to make those adjustments or repairs. So in Thomas's case, we actually had to do it over 2 days just because of the time zone difference between the two of us was so extreme that we only had a few hours per day to do all the work. So his was a 2-day process, but it was about 4 to 5 hours overall of time spent doing tuning. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring Thomas in and see what his thoughts are. So go ahead and tell us about how does it drive now that we've done all the tuning?
It's a new car. It's basically a new car. It was new when I rebuilt the engine. It was a new car, but now I got a new car once again, basically. So, or a new engine, you could say. The car is the same, but the engine is new again. Now, in short, before having to gear down in uphills, having to go down in third in 80 kilometers an hour slopes, things like this, seeing that it was very, it was stutter. When I accelerate, it wouldn't accelerate, it would just die out. And then coming back again. So really having to push it to get anything out of the engine. So like really struggling to drive it good because you're seeing that it's way too lean. And at the same time, you try to not, that it's drivable as well. So it's kind of becoming a bit stressful to drive it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just a joy. I told you, Darren, before this call as well, I drove a tunnel. It's about 10 kilometers long or something like that, 10 kilometers long. And at the end, there's a slope. This is a 80 kilometer per hour tunnel, and at the end is a slope. Usually I have to go down in third to maintain the speed limit because you're either because of the hill or I'm too lean. Now, yesterday, I was being there steady, cruising at 80, and this uphill comes. And I expect I probably need to gear down, but at least I can try. So I just maintain a throttle. And the car just pulls and pulls and pulls, and I notice, okay, I have more than enough of power here in fourth, going uphill. I have a 3.1 ratio, so it's fairly torquey, and I'm about at 2,800 RPMs at this point in 80. So, but having no problem to accelerate up to 90 or even 100 if I would go over the limit. That would be no problem. Wouldn't be a fast acceleration, but I have the acceleration, and that's really nice for my sake. So to be able to pull evenly up these hills and following the traffic. So
It's so much easier to drive, and you have more performance out of the engine. Also, we know that the fueling is safe under heavy load. I'll show the charts in a few minutes, but your maximum acceleration was about 12.5 to 1, I think, under full load. So
yeah, I've seen 11.8 sometimes now afterwards. So 11.8 to 12 something on the heavy load, but a short duration, and then the steady is around 12 something. So 12.8 could be right.
Yeah. So there's no danger to the engine under high RPM, heavy load conditions. You're very safe. Very far away from the damaging lean issues that you had previously.
Yeah.
And you get more power to boot.
Yeah, and that's very nice when you have built an engine that you actually can get some of that power and the economy as well. on the normal cruising. Because also on the normal cruising, it's running at 15, 15.4, and it's very nice and even. And just that I can say as well, it's much more quiet.
Yes.
I have a RC40 exhaust, and it's not that loudest exhaust, but it still has some noise to it. But now everything is much more nicer and more even. So it's yeah, fun to drive, like just cruising around the town, nice and calm. But it has still the ability that I like to be a sporty mini, to go up the hills, the short bends, yeah, to have the quick acceleration when you need it.
Well, that's what you expect out of a Mini. You want it to be fun
Yeah,
and peaky and also efficient, and that's what you can
yeah,
get having an SU
yeah,
carburetor. It gives you both options.
yeah,
And as you found out, there is a big difference between the steady speed fueling versus the acceleration fueling areas on the needles.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, big
very
difference.
much so. Yeah, extreme big difference, and that's what you mentioned as well during the tuning, that my engine had a bit special curve that we ended at
Mm-hmm.
on the acceleration fueling, that in the end you didn't think there would be a needle that would fit my engine anyway. So
Yes, that's right.
we would need a custom needle anyway in some shape or form.
Yeah, there wasn't a single needle in the book of available needles that had enough fuel at that specific area of the needle. So you would never have been able to find one off the shelf. This would have
Yeah.
always been a custom modified needle.
And that's new information for me to realize, that you cannot just pick some needles and expect it to work. That you can have an engine that needs a very specific needle, engine that needs a specific needle, and that it affects that much. Yeah, that was a kind of eye opener. That because you often hear that, yeah, you just need to just grab a BDL or a BBC or some needle. Yeah, that works for a 1310. No,
No.
no. I bought four of those, and we ended up modifying one of them. So
Right.
and actually it wasn't the one that because I tried all of the needles. I had one needle from before, and I bought three new ones. And the one I thought I tested very early on was not the best of those three. It was actually more lean originally
Hmm.
than we ended up with. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and your engine is not heavily modified. Yes, it has a nice cam and it is a
Mm.
slight overbore, but
Mm.
I believe the head was a fairly standard head, if I'm not mistaken. The valves are a little bit
Yeah,
bigger.
yeah, MG Metro head. So
Okay.
fairly like a standard MG Metro head with the big valves on a 940 top. So
And I don't think there was any port modifications. You didn't mention any port modifications, did you?
yes, it
Oh, there
looks
was.
like it, that
Okay.
that it has been modified in the ports a little bit, because it was too shiny in the ports. But I didn't modify the top or the head anymore when I rebuilt the engine. I had to save some time and money in some areas.
Mhm.
So because yeah, it wasn't planned, this rebuild. So it was of a necessity. And also going for the RS cam was that I wasn't happy with the cam that was in the car originally. So I basically down tuned it. It was being had been dynoed several years ago to over 100 horsepower, the engine I had. But there was 100 horsepower, about 3,500 RPM, and that's not usable for my area in any way. So
Yeah, so
so
it's a
I
much more
buy,
usable build with a better cam choice, and now
yeah,
you have a good fueling profile to
yeah,
feed it. So it's a much more drivable car at this point.
yeah. I'm really looking forward to starting the season as well with this. with this, basically new engine in my car. The season in Norway is starting a bit late this year. It's been a long spring. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season driving the car and not just tinkering with it, trying to get the fueling right, because I've done that since Easter or before Easter.
So what is your feedback to other Mini owners and regarding tuning and my services that I provided to you via the remote tune?
I highly recommend it. I really do. I really highly recommend it. At the same time, I would say be prepared. Be prepared.
Yes.
Know what you have. Know what area you are in. Like mentioned before, if you don't know, you need to measure. And that makes for the coil, it makes for the distributor, the spark plugs, whatever you can measure in the engine, note it down and provide it to the one that's going to help you tune. And you could most likely fix, in my opinion, a lot of things before.
Yeah.
And so that would be like a recommendation as well. Yes, I recommend the tuning, but be prepared. So
Yeah, and I usually try to help people out when they send a message to me saying, make sure your spark plugs are right, make sure your coil's right. I try to get some
yeah,
of those things out of the way because I want to spend
mm,
as much time as possible correcting the things that they can't, like the needle profiles. So
yeah,
I do try to save that time in advance
mm,
as best I can. But some people just don't have the equipment or they don't know how to do it. So sometimes I
mm,
have to explain how to measure these things first.
yeah,
And if a car happens to need parts or something, we'll just have to stop the tune like we did
mm,
for you,
yeah,
since we ran out of time. But
mm,
tuning can happen over a period of days or
yeah,
weeks.
mm,
So if it takes 3, 4, 5 different sessions, then so be it.
mm,
You just got to get through it,
yeah,
and you never know what's going to happen. So yeah,
mm,
being prepared is the best thing you can possibly be
yeah,
before a tune, as you found out, which is why our
yeah,
tune went so smoothly.
yeah. Yeah, and I tried to be as prepared as possible, but because I've been trying to studying this process on my own, studying your videos, AC's videos, and other videos, just general YouTubers. Yeah, this is how you tune your Mini. Okay, but that could be you being on the internet. You never know who to trust, basically. But
Mhm.
after a while, you see that okay, these guys, and then I'm thinking of you, AC Dodd, and now Thomas Modern and Classic have been starting to do some videos as well, just some short videos. So you start to understand who to trust and what advice to trust, and that's uh, I, when building the engine, I trusted an advice on from the internet, but they failed to mention a critical point. So that blew a head gasket with that misinformation. But yeah,
Yeah, and we make our videos and we put out information that's as true as we can make it. We show the
mm,
results. The results are measurable. Um,
mm,
we focus entirely on the information and the data that you can
mm,
get, and that's why we talk
mm,
about if you're going to have a car tuned, always have a look at the spark plugs afterwards, because if you just had a car tuned and your spark plugs are black, then that car is not in
yeah,
good running condition. The spark plugs don't lie. You can't lie with spark plugs. They tell you the exact running condition of the engine. So
yeah,
you need to check those. So yeah, a lot of tuners just turn the screw and call
mm,
it good, and they never do any fueling correction to the
mm,
acceleration. So they just dump a bunch of fuel in an idle, and it ruins the engine.
yeah,
That's why we say check your spark plugs, because that's the
mm,
bare minimum that you can do to verify your tune is good.
mm.
But the
And on
best
that
situation
point,
is to have a lambda gauge.
yeah, and I sent you an image of my plugs before we started tuning,
Yes.
and they weren't that bad actually. If you're looking at just the plugs themselves, been showing this the picture of my plugs to other people as well. Yeah, that looks perfect. It's like chocolate brown. It's perfect. Yeah, but I measure that it doesn't run right, and it doesn't run right. So a picture doesn't say anything. So as well, the gauge help you confirm what you're thinking, and you have some feedback to the tuner, to the one helping you out. Okay, I feel this, and the gauge says this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that gives you the information you need to guide to the right goal. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once you've put on about
So
100
yeah,
kilometers, go ahead and send me another picture of your spark plugs. I'll put it in the video as
yeah,
well, so people can see
yeah.
the difference between the two sets of plugs.
Yeah, I will. So next Friday I will have a longer run as well. So we have a trip going about 150 kilometers up to and have a meeting for a weekend, and also a good drive on the Saturday. A good long 1.5 hour drive with the rest of the minis and a fully loaded mini. I'm bringing all my family on the trip. So if we have
Sounds like
time,
fun.
maybe I'll try to shoot over some pictures from the meeting as well.
Okay,
But
Thomas.
yeah,
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the
mm,
time to do this little post-tuning interview.
yeah,
We'll go ahead and include the footage of the plugs, and I'm going to talk about the fueling curves and things like that
mm,
after this is over, so people get an idea of what we had to do and why we had to do
yeah,
certain things. So,
yeah,
but thanks for joining, and thanks for having me out to do the tuning, even though it was via remote tune. At
yeah,
least we were able to do
yeah.
it and get you back on the
Mm,
road,
yeah.
get your mini running really well.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this. So a big thank you as well, Darren, for helping me out. Really helping me out. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it was perfect. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, bye,
Yeah.
Darren.
So hopefully you guys appreciate the interview with Thomas. I want to talk about the graphs for a little bit on the performance of this car. So this chart here is a before shot, and it's showing a steady cruising speed. So the blue line is the speed, and the light blue part of the chart is the vacuum, and the red line is the air-fuel ratio. So in this chart, we see that the air-fuel ratio is way above 15. It's probably like 15 and a half or 16 or even further. It goes off the scale of the chart. I don't know how high it goes, but clearly the engine is starving for fuel. And if we look at where the engine vacuum is, it's quite low, meaning that Thomas is having to use more throttle than necessary to maintain this speed, at whatever the speed is. If we look at a shot of after tuning, about the same speed, we can see that the engine vacuum is quite high, and the air-fuel ratio is about 13.5 to 14 to 1, which is perfect for his car. His ignition system, that's basically what it can handle. So the reason the manifold vacuum is so high is because it means that the engine's producing a lot of power. So therefore, Thomas doesn't have to use a lot of throttle to maintain this speed. Therefore, the engine vacuum is significantly higher than it would be without all the extra fuel. So we've made improvement at all the cruising speeds. This is just a small snapshot of one of the steady state cruising speeds. But hopefully you guys found those two charts interesting, because it's a data representation of what's going on with the engine in terms of its fueling, and also the quality of the tuning and the final results. As Thomas mentioned, he had significantly more power. He was able to drive up this hill in fourth gear instead of having to downshift in the third. So he's quite pleased with how it runs now. So if you guys had any problems in the past with tuning, just give me a note down below. And if you want to discuss remote tuning, please send me a message. We can coordinate a remote tune, as I've talked about before. So appreciate everyone who's watched this video, and as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.